Hey up everyone and welcome to World of Warships. I can't play combat mission all the time because it would make my brain melt. Sometimes you just need a bit of jump in, quick, casual fun, and this is one of the games I play for that. It scratches a different itch. Now the big thing in World of Warships at the moment is the British cruisers. Finally the Royal Navy is here. This is HMS Emerald, which is the tier 5 British cruiser. They're all light cruisers and they've got a bit of a learning curve to them because they are exceptionally fragile. That over there is a German tier 7 battleship, the Gneisenau, and it's capable of wiping one of these ships out with a single salvo. 3 shells, 3 penetrations, that wasn't even the magazine going off, that was just death. That's the tier 5, that's the Emerald. I don't like the Emerald very much, so I've hopped up to this. This is HMS Leander at tier 6. A much more modern looking beast than the Emerald. The big changes are that you have fore and aft super firing turrets. You have A, B, X and Y turrets. As opposed to Emerald where all the guns are in single gun turrets and they're mounted on the centre line. So if you want to put out as much fire as you possibly can, you really have to give the enemy a good broadside to shoot at. With this I can put out half of my firepower if I'm running towards the enemy and when I'm running away from the enemy, and there's some quite forgiving angles in between, so I can put a lot of fire out without being quite as vulnerable. And that's the big deal with the British cruisers. I'm used to playing very aggressively with the other stuff, but with these I've had to dial it back a notch, really start making the most out of cover, not going in there first, and generally trying to stay alive and contribute instead of trying to do something dramatic. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to take up a position on this corner here, right next to this island, where I should be in defilade from the big boys, and I can shoot at the enemy when they cross this gap a little bit further up. Got some friendly cruisers coming in, they're going to be able to go out there and spot the enemy / draw fire. We've got some battleships in the back, we've got a destroyer out on the far right, he's going to be able to spot targets as well. It's a pretty good deal as deals go in this game. Now the really interesting thing to watch here is what all the cruisers do, the cruisers on our team and the cruisers on the enemy team. First up we've got this York. The York's a tier 7 German cruiser, so it's a bit higher up the food chain than me. So I'm popping my smoke screen so he won't see me when I start opening up with my guns. But out he comes, broadside on to all this stuff. Bad move, nice big target, nice flat angles for the rounds to go in at. I would continue shooting at him, but an enemy destroyer pops up. This is a very small fast target laden with torpedoes. Can really ruin your day, and I really want to get some shots into him, but unfortunately he's just managed to turn around behind that lighthouse there, just in the lee of the island, and I can't get a bead on him. He's legged it though. Unfortunately, our Nuremberg and our Furattacker have both panicked. The Nuremberg, you can see he's just run himself aground, panicked, splurged his torps around the corner because he's probably going to die now. He's going to have to reverse, he's going to be stuck in position for quite a long time in a very bad angle. The Furattacker has gone out into the open, he's attracted more fire than the Nuremberg, he's on about a third health already. That enemy cruiser over there, that's a Kirov, that's a tier 5 Russian cruiser. He's having second thoughts, he's trying to lurk behind the island, he's come out too far, now he's trying to throw it in reverse. That's not going to work. That sound is the Furattacker blowing up. There goes the Nuremberg as well. Suddenly, in the space of about a minute, 4 cruisers have gone to the bottom. Ironically, it's the most fragile one, the Royal Navy cruiser, which is still going. So what I'm doing now is this enemy battleship, the Dunkirk tier 6 French battle cruiser, is coming in, he's eaten some torpedoes from our friendly destroyer, and I can sit here in this smoke screen totally, well, it's gone now, so now you can see me, but his turrets are facing the wrong way. I can put some good plunging fire in with the AP that's going in, down through the deck, down through the turrets, boom. Terrible, terrible Royal Navy announcer aside, we just sunk a battleship. But there's still plenty of enemy ships around that corner and they're all coming in because they outnumber us over here. So what I've done is I've splurged my starboard side torps. They're going to go around the corner, hopefully they might catch somebody by surprise. There's usually somebody especially battleship players, sad to say, who are dumb enough to keep driving in a straight line when they know that there's enemy ships armed with torpedoes around. And in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm turning round to get my portside torps online. I love the torpedoes on the Royal Navy cruisers, especially the way you can fire them off one by one, pretty fast, nice arcs on the launchers, very hard hitting. Which is good because at the moment I'm effectively on my own. Those two friendly battleships and the destroyer aren't really in position to help me. There's an enemy cruiser coming around the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire off my torpedoes into his projected path, then I'm going to start opening up on him. What this is going to do, the torpedoes, I don't expect these to hit. If they do, obviously it's fantastic. But if they don't, they're going to force him to maneuver. That's a Japanese cruiser. Japanese cruisers tend to have terrible turret rotation speeds, and in the meantime I can start filling him in with these light guns on the Leander. Rounds straight into the Citadel. That's the big armoured box full of important stuff in the middle of the ship, the engine room, the boilers, all the stuff that doesn't react well to enemy fire. He's put his torpedoes out, but I'm going to be able to dodge them, and in the meantime friendly battleship has found the time to delete him. Sort of disappointed because I did most of the killing there and I wanted to capitalise on it, but that's how the game goes. So what am I going to do now? I'm nice and safe behind this island, but the enemy can see me. There's an aircraft spotting me. That'll be a catapult fighter or a spotting aircraft, something like that. There's no carriers in this game. That means that there's something fairly close with a plane up on the other side of the island. It's not a big deal because I'm fairly safe, but it's something to think about. Now, I can put a few shots into that Congo. It's very long range. That means that because of the shell trajectory, the shells are going to plunge down. Hopefully they might go through the deck, or they might penetrate through the superstructure and do some damage. Not going to be doing that for long though. There's that US Navy destroyer that popped up earlier, a USS Farragut. Nice small target, but it is something that a Royal Navy cruiser is going to be able to chase down and kill pretty easily. So off we go after him, get bow on, so that if he puts any torpedoes out I'm going to be able to comb them pretty easily and not get hit. Keep closing the range, putting shots into him. He is a small, fast target, so it's quite difficult. But it's just an exercise in putting the fire on. He is actually pretty doomed here. We've got him caught in an L shape, as it were. This is what Rodney and KG5 did to Bismarck. It doesn't matter which way he goes, he will be broadside onto one of us. That means one of us will have a good shot. There's his torpedoes, he's missed. He's trying to pop his smoke screen, but he's either going too fast or the other friendly ship here has the hydroacoustic search on, the sonar, so he can see him despite the smoke. One last salvo, and he's done. This is where it starts to get a bit more interesting, because that's the tier 7 Japanese battleship Nagato. That's on the enemy team, and that's going to come through the gaps between the islands here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch from lurking on the far corner, and I'm going to lurk on the close corner here, and I'm going to lay a torpedo ambush for him. When he comes around that corner, I'm going to offload a load of torpedoes into him. Hopefully he's not going to see him coming, he's not going to be able to react. It should be fairly textbook. Now I can spot him because there's a friendly cruiser, or a couple of friendly cruisers off to my left, and they can see him. They're putting a bit of fire out, but they're going to have to maneuver, otherwise they're going to have a bad day, because Nagato's got some pretty chunky guns on it. And you can see the little grey track there. That's the predicted path of that Nagato. The green track is where I'm aiming with my torpedoes. I'm just going to fire them off one after the other down the same line, so if one of them hits, all of them are probably going to hit. The only way he's going to be able to dodge these is if he wildly changes his speed, pretty much, and he's not going to do that, I don't think. He has spotted me, but his turrets aren't quite looking at me. Yep, there go the torps. Come on, come on, come on. I've turned away and I'm going, so I'm a smaller target if he does decide to shoot at me. He hasn't, he's eaten all of those torpedoes. Down he goes. Did wipe out one of the friendly cruisers though, so that's no good. And next up there's a Congo coming in, which is the tier 5. It's very similar to Nagato really. Another one of those amazing British built Japanese battle cruisers. he's going to do the same thing, but this time he's not spotted. So I've fired my torpedoes down there very optimistically. I don't think they're going to hit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here, pop my smoke screen, except for the fact that there is currently a bug with the smoke screen sometimes, and it just put out one little puff of smoke and not both of them, which is fantastic. So now I'm stuck out in the open with an angry Japanese battleship right in front of me, and that means it's time for the standardized death ride. So in we go. We're going to put some shots into him, close the range, wait for him to get his next salvo off for his main guns while I'm still bow on, then turn and try and finish him off with torpedoes. This is going to be extremely painful, but it would be extremely painful in any cruiser, or any destroyer for that matter. That was his main salvo. Here come the torpedoes. This is where I dropped the ball, because I simply haven't led him enough. I thought he was going a lot slower than he was, and I thought that my torpedoes were going to go a lot faster. So now I am essentially screwed. I'm being lit up by his secondary batteries. My secondary batteries are getting stuck in at least. That's 15 shell hits from them. But the torpedoes have missed. His main battery is back online, and yeah, there we go. Game over. Royal Navy cruisers. When you make mistakes, you get punished. You guys didn't think I was going to survive the whole thing, did you? I'm not going to pretend that I'm very good at this game. Sometimes I have my moments though. This one, I'm pretty successful. You don't need to survive all the way to the end to do a good job. Did 100,000 damage, about half from guns, half from torpedoes, sank 3 ships. I pulled my weight. Most of the enemy team came down the right flank, and we held them off, slowed them down, picked them apart a bit. So that's the Royal Navy Tier 6 light cruiser, the Leander. It's a nice bit of kit, definitely a huge step up from the other ones in the Royal Navy cruiser line. This is where they start to get good. That's about enough of World of Warships for the time being though, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit of something different. There's still some more Little Stalingrad in the pipeline. I'm just waiting for the turns to pile up before I make another video. So there's all that to look forward to. Hope you have a good day, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.